But I guess I should start from the beginning. A few months back, I had this crazy dream. I was standing in the desert, completely alone, and I heard this chanting sound coming from beneath the sand. I put my ear to the ground, and it began to scream. It was a guttural, horrifying scream. It sounded like suffering, endless and cruel. It filled me with joy. Suddenly, a homeless guy emerged out of the Whispering Sands. I reached into my pocket to give him some money, but my pocket was full of bones. Human bones, the bones of cats and dogs, various rodent bones, at least 1 million bones, flooding the world with skeletal decay that rattled and clattered amidst the unending screams that sounded from everywhere. Then the homeless man looked at me, but he was no man. He was an ancient, formless being, an avatar of complete and utter malice, a shadow daemon of a forgotten realm beyond space and time. And he spoke to me, but he didn't call me Jimmy or even Mr. Beast. He spoke my true name, a name I had forgotten, a name with no translation in the human speech, for it portends destruction such that the mind of man is incapable of conceiving it. He spoke to me, and he spoke of a great cleansing fire rising out of the desert, of rapture. He sang a melody so haunting that the world itself seemed to ache and shudder at the sound of it, and his mind and my mind became one, and I saw what he saw. I saw the labyrinth of the pyramid, and the power that lay within, saw the end of all things. And I awoke with the taste of blood and unspoken horrors on my lips, and a trajectory from which I could no longer stray. The next few weeks passed in an instant. We booked travel to Cairo, rented out the pyramids, hired a crew, and then we were there, and all was exactly as the dream foretold. As we drew closer to the pyramids, I felt a darkness stirring within the earth and the forbidden ecstasy rising inside me. I didn't need a map. The antechamber, the great gallery of Khufu, I knew every stone. I could have sketched the entirety of the necropolis on parchment, cubit by cubit. Through time, I watched its construction, watched Ankaf, half-brother of the pharaoh, overlooking the great stones brought along the Nile from Torah and Ojwan, saw empires rise and fall over the course of centuries as petty kings, and lesser gods had shrines erected and toppled like drops of blood lost in the endless sand. I walked down the descending passage into the pit of Giza, the false tomb of Khu. I ran my hand along the jagged sandstone wall and pressed until my blood began to trickle into dust. I offered my blood upon the altar and felt the great pyramid begin to shake as ancient mechanisms awakened in anticipation of me. A new passageway, and I ventured deeper into Labyrinth, my eyes straining amidst darkness that had gone untouched by light and life for millennia, and I beheld a great chasm, around which stood statues of the old gods of Babylon, forgotten by all history and legend. And I beheld a pedestal carved of fine ivory and fire ruby, holding a magnificent golden scepter. It called to me, and I could not deny its longing embrace. I grasped it in my hand, still bleeding, and felt all the earth fall away, while I yet remained. And at last I saw the earth for what it was, felt the nagging pestilence of humanity as a blight to be cured through my own divine intervention. And in my golden scepter, I felt the power to boil oceans and rain down fire upon the land. It was sick. And the old gods awakened to commune with me, and they spoke of the folly of Gilgamesh and the sullying of the sacred fire. And in their presence I was changed, no longer a mere man, but a crimson behemoth dripping with shadows and flame, the beast. And I, the beast, emerged from the earth, my terrible wings unfurling amidst lightning as all creation trembled at the abomination cradled in its womb. And all things came to an end, and the sands were silent. And so this week's video is going to be late.